Hi guys, so in this video we're going to be looking at Anthropology, specifically the version played by Chris Potter. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. Yeah, we're going to be looking at his version of Anthropology, which he's literally just playing as a standard, just as you would on a jam night basically, but he's absolutely shredding it. Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're just going to go over, I'm going to basically walk you through it, how to play the solo. I've only done it up to like the first 30 seconds, as it's a very long solo, but I thought I'd just do the first 30 seconds, and because it's still in the first 30 seconds, still quite a lot of interesting stuff in there. I just haven't had the time to do the whole solo yet, but it's a very hard solo as well. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So I've got a little transcription here which I've been writing on. Obviously it's got all my notes on it and everything, but this is what I'll just be reading off for today. So at the start, if you've listened to the track, it's normally about it's around 243 BPM. You'll see that I'll upload a PDF on the description so you can see the transcription I've got here, and you'll see all the details, all the markings, but it's about 243 BPM. So I must note, I'll be, in all the examples I'm going to give you, and just when it's me playing it back to you, I'm just going to slow it down a little bit. You'll see right at the end I've got a full run through of me playing it, but I'm only playing it just over half speed for several reasons. One is because I haven't actually managed to get it up to a really quick speed yet. Two, it's also in my favour because I'm sort of favouring accuracy more than speed and stuff like this when it's showing you and how to play it and analysing the solo as well, so you can really see what's going on rather than just fingers flying everywhere. Yeah, so he kicks it off with some triads. So specifically his triads are B flat and E flat, and so the first note is actually on an anacrusis, so he starts on the forehand at the bar before bar 1 in his solo, which sounds like this. So yeah, he's just using those first two triads there. Really simple, and then he basically descends, starting on the third beat, sort of like a whole tone sort of thing, which sounds like this. So you've got that sort of like a sequence there. Of the whole tone scale, and then he leaves it for a bar, and then on the second beat of bar 5 he uses like a chromatic sort of pull-off thing, as you'd play it on guitar really, but obviously he's a saxophonist, but yeah, he's got a chromatic line here which goes, it's in semi-quavers. It's the fastest row of notes that happens in this part of the solo at least, which sounds like, so he starts from the B flat and goes down to the G, and then goes to the F and the D flat, and they're quavers. So, and then to get to the D minor 7, he then goes chromatic down from the G. So altogether it sounds like 1. And then on the third beat of that bar he just goes up to the tonic of the G7, and in the next bar is just this little lick here, and you'll see the actual rhythm on the transcription. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I had to ponder quite a while on what the exact rhythm of that is, but I think it's just a crotchet triplet. I'm not sure, it could be different, but feel free to correct me. So moving on to bar 9, he starts again on the F7, and uses, it sort of turns bitonal because it's over an F7, but he uses an A flat here, which is not in the key of B flat, and when he uses it over the F7, it sort of creates like a bitonal sort of sound. So if he's like a normal F7 would be like, you've got that A natural in there, which makes it the minor, but his first note on this is that minor. There, so this riff goes like, starts off like that, and then goes down the B flat scale from F, and then reaches B flat after that. So, and then he goes straight into that from the B flat to the B natural, which goes really nice into that G7. And then after that one, the next beat after that, he's got another triplet, and the first note in that triplet is just a ghost note. The second and third notes in the triplet, F and A flat. So, which then goes into that C minor, and he goes down the B flat major scale again from G again. So, and then from there on the F7 again, it's sort of like a chromatic sequence. So starting from the first beat, it goes. So you've got that, and you can play that however you want. Like, obviously it depends on your dexterity and obviously the speed you're playing it at. I choose to just keep one finger per fret. Others might choose to play it like this. So it's sort of shifting positions there. Whatever's best. And then next bar, first note is the B flat over the F7, and then goes to the D to an A flat, which is it's quite interesting because it now creates like a G7 flat 9 sound as he's landing on the A flat, which you could also call an A flat A flat diminished 7, because it's basically just the G with an A flat in the bass. So it's like an A flat diminished sound, which is really cool. Then he leaves it for the next bar, and then at the beginning of the 3 and of bar 11, he's just messing around with, he's keeping tonic, he's keeping it all diatonic, just messing around with the B flat major scale, with this little, it's quite a cool look actually. So he uses that to then go into the B section with that little, so it's just highlighting the root and the 7th there, which is pretty standard. And then he leaves it for a bar again, and then when you get to the G7 on the 3 and, he starts going into the proper outside chromatic stuff here. This is where he really kicks it into gear, and it starts with this really cool 2-bar phrase here. So I'll just play this for you. So this starts on the 3 and. 1, 2, 3. So there's a lot of chromaticism there. That's all chromatic, and then he skips the E flat to the D, and then gets to the B, B natural, and then obviously you just got this, and that that first B is doubled up, and it doesn't really sound right at slower tempos, but if you really listen to it, he does double up that B on there. And then the next bar, he basically goes, so he starts using a bit more, he uses like a B flat major arpeggio over this C7, which is, it's not in the key of C7, but it's not, it'll still work, and it sounds really nice, and that just sounds like so there's 2 quavers and then a triplet going up, and obviously the faster you get, you're going to have to sweep that rather than pick it, because it's obviously really fast, depending on how fast you play it. And then sort of still messing around in B flat for a bit. Now when we get to this G, he starts what is like a whole tone run. Well, it's not a run, it's just a series, just a phrase which highlights whole tone tonalities and colours, really. And he starts off by going, that's the first bit, and then he moves down, or he can play it up here as well. So that's quite over the F7. He's basically playing you could call it the F whole tone scale, but obviously there's so many, you can basically start the whole tone scale from anywhere and you can call it loads of different names. But yeah, he's starting on the G, so technically it's the G whole tone scale, but it works over the F7 really nicely, with a bit of a different flavour and a bit more mystery to it. And then he goes back into the next sort of shape on the guitar, at least, and obviously the sound as well, is sort of like an altered scale sort of shape, as it would be from, starting from E flat, descending down to the root. So yeah, I'll play the next bit. So you've got that sort of altered scale, sort of as it would be like B natural. So yeah, that's quite an interesting thing, and that's over the B flat major 7, and landing on a B flat there, obviously like another sort of flat 9 sound, or B diminished sort of sound. But by the time he does get to the B natural, the chord is underneath is a G7, so it works really nicely there. And there's also a bit more of bitonality here, because he goes over a G7, so he uses the B flat over a G7, so another bit of bitonality there. Still sounds great. Now the next bit, to play at speed, is really hard. Well, I found it really hard anyway, which is why at the end of the video you'll see I'm only playing it just over half speed, but just to show you what the whole thing's like played in full. If you wanted to hear it up to speed, you can get there's a YouTube video, which is what I use to transcribe it, or if you can find it anywhere else, you can hear it full speed there. But this is just to show you what it's like when it's slowed right down. So the next bit, he uses like a leading note into an F major 7, arpeggio, which I'll just show you. So this starts on the one hand, as you will see on the transcription. So he sort of has like a chromatic thing going on here with the bottom notes. So obviously he starts on the E natural, but the arpeggio starts on the tonic there. So you've got this sort of, and I'll show you where the E flat comes into it in a bit. But yeah, he starts on the 7th degree in F, hits the E natural again, and then goes straight down to the E flat, which he's now playing over C minor 7 and E flat minor 7 sound, which is pretty cool. Sounds really out there, so it's like a really hip sort of line, and then comes down. That's like a so he's starting on the flat 9 of the F7 there, and then moves on to the next bar in F minor 7. It starts off with like an A flat major 7 arpeggio, which goes up to the 9th. So what we got so far is that's what we've got so far. And then that last note is landing on the 3rd beat of that last bar we just talked about. Now here he does like a really cool sort of displaced rhythm. So he'll go he'll start on the 3 and when you hear it up to speed, it sounds like a really cool displaced rhythm. He's like constantly syncopating, where he starts going back up the scale, A scale or arpeggio again. Yeah, so I'll play that for you. So you see again that last bit I just played there. It's sort of like another sequence, but it's more of a sequence in using like the B major scale over an A flat 7, because he goes. So he uses sort of like a B major 7 sound over there, and then returns to C minor on a C minor. And then goes straight back out again, leading into the F7, and he uses that A natural there to go from the F7's natural 3rd to its minor 3rd. So there's another bit of bitonality there just on that one note, but also starting on this one note he's using an E, just a normal E triad over an F7, and it sort of creates like a minor major 7 flat 5 sort of sound, which is really cool. So over this chord he's playing so that's a really cool sort of progression there, and then he just returns to his chromatic stuff, and going up, so he sort of goes up the B flat blues scale, because he's got the E natural in there. And then comes down from the A flat chromatically to an F in a triplet, and then he's basically from there until 105 he's just stays in B flat, and I'll just play this last bit for you. And finishes it off really nicely there, with landed on the 5th and the tonic of the F7. Yeah, so that's the whole solo up to 105. I may carry this solo on. It's quite a long solo. He takes like 6 choruses, and this is just over 1. So this is when it gets to 105. He's about 2 bars into his second chorus, but that's the whole bit up to there. And I'll chuck the transcription. This transcription will be a PDF, and also I'll put at the end of this video just me playing through it, so you can see the whole thing in one, and you can stop and look at certain bits. Yeah, thanks guys, hope you enjoyed.